Hey everybody, I promised that I would go live to talk about my experience getting dental work done in Mexico. So those who know me know that I've been a corporate guy for years, and the last 15 years I've been running college campuses. Last 7 as a university campus president. So I certainly had more. I didn't have a lot of time to get a lot of things done, and so I was always just doing what everybody else does, going and getting dental work done with my local dentist, whatnot, and paying whatever they wanted me to charge me. And I've got some great friends that are dentists, so please don't be mad at me for this, because I don't think this will impact really your practices by any means. But as I get older, and as I have parents that are older and friends who have parents that are older, I recognize that there are some really great opportunities to save a ton of money by just going across the border and doing what's called medical tourism. And while not everybody wants to have surgery and be cut open in Mexico, dental work and the quality of dental work is pretty much on par. And there are some areas that are even specifically have become meccas. And so the one I'm going to tell you about is my personal experience, is just south of Yuma, and it's called Los Algodones. Its nickname is Molar City, and it's really 4 blocks by 4 blocks with about 730 dentists, depending on who you talk to. And so it's pretty much dental offices and pharmacies, and some optician too. But it's the 2 areas where our insurance in the United States is not very good, right? We don't, it's like $1,100 is your max out on dental, and something even less for glasses. And so they've found this specialty where that's what they work with. And when you go, most of the time I was a youngin'. I mean, it's mostly our grandparents and our parents who are saving money in their older age by going across the border. And in the case of this, in Molar City, I use air quotes, in Los Algodones, it's literally slammed up against the border, right just inside the California border, right by Yuma. And it is, nicknamed Molar City. It's 4 blocks by 4 blocks. So you can't really get lost. And the thing that we miss in the United States is that there's no transparency in pricing, right? Well, there is transparency there. In fact, you can see exactly how much it's going to cost you to get a tooth removed, to get a crown, to get an extraction, to get a post. And a lot of what people tend to do as they get older is they get implants, and you can see, and they're very expensive. And so you can see exactly what the costs are, and you can comparison cost, or shop. So for me, I'm not going to leave the name of the clinic I went to, because I'm not trying to do advertising for them. What I'm just saying is that for me, when I was looking at getting caught up on some dental work, now that I had time, because I'm self-employed now, I have more time now than I ever did before, and just getting caught up on some of that stuff, when I got an idea of what it was going to cost me in the States, and I had some experience with medical tourism and some friends that had done it, I started asking what they were doing. And I'm very fortunate being in Phoenix. I'm 3 hours from Yuma, so I'm 199 miles. But a lot of people fly in and they head across and they save thousands of dollars. In my case, what I needed to get done, or should get done, to get caught up and get everything done, wasn't a lot of work, but the cost was anywhere from 8 to 12 grand. And the grand scheme of things, I ended up spending about $2,300, $2,400. For something that would cost me on the low end from a buddy of mine that's a dentist would have been about 8.5, 9 to as high as 12 grand. And so clearly that's why our parents and our grandparents are doing it, is because they're mostly paying cash. As they got older, and as we get older, your teeth it doesn't matter if you floss and brush every day, they're not meant to last forever, and we are outliving our teeth. And so if anyone has any questions about where I went, I'd be more than happy to share it with you, or what I did for research. But I asked for referrals, and then what I wouldn't recommend is, as soon as you cross the border, there's a ton of people offering you dental services, but that's not really great research, because it's, they're paid to sort of refer you to a dentist. But do your research before, get your appointment set up. Most all of them have free analysis, or where they can work with you to figure out what it is that you need to get done. And then they're very open with what you can do, what you should do, what's recommended, and then the choice is yours. For example, if you're having a tooth extracted, you can have a simple extraction, but the best practice is to go ahead and do a bone graft, and in some cases even put stem cell in there, so that you don't have any erosion of your jaw. And they'll talk to you about that, and you have an option to do that. And you do that after you get a 360 panoramic view of your mouth. I guess this is where I should step back and say, for those of you who think that Mexico is third world, it is third world. But if they want to treat and they want patients from the United States, which most of them get a lot of work from the United States and Canada, they need to then replicate those levels of service. So when you walk into the clinic, it's clean and beautiful. At least the one I went to. Are there various ones? Yeah, there's 700 and some odd dentists in 4 blocks by 4 blocks. So almost every square foot has a dental office and or an optician's office or a pharmacy. So there are some that are better than others. Do your research. Absolutely do your research. But the amount of money that you can save and the quality of the care that you get is pretty good if you go to the right clinics. And so when I was mentioning it to people, they were wanting more information about, well, what exactly is it? Quite simply, medical tourism is kind of a big thing. And when you take a look at in some towns in Mexico that the average daily wage is $4, it's the cost of labor is significantly lower. And so therefore your costs on things you're spending money on are significantly lower. Is it for everybody? No, it's not for everybody. Not everybody wants to travel and then also, be recovering from something. A lot of people, if they plan it correctly, they travel, they have fun first, and then they have their procedure at the end of it, and then travel back and heal at home. You can certainly do that. Los Algodones is not on the coast, so while you'll be in Mexico and all the benefits of being in Mexico, the people are they're very happy to have you there. The whole economy in Los Algodones specifically is this dental specifically and other medical things. But you can also do it in towns like Tijuana, where you can be next to the ocean and you could rent a condo and make it a vacation. You could do that. A lot of people are leaving the country to do things like bariatric surgeries. They're doing, some cases they're doing plastic. But this is specifically about dental and how simple it is to save a lot of money. And as our parents get older, our grandparents, as we get older, it might be an opportunity for you to do that. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I mean, most everybody on my personal page is a personal friend of mine. There's very few that I don't know personally, but if you want more information or if I can help guide you, or you want to know what clinic I went to, by no means am I referring you to that, but I can just tell you why I went there and what research I did. So, and then if you know people who are older and their reason for not getting their dental work done is because of cost, research has shown that your health is deeply impacted by your oral health. And so if you're just letting stuff go because you can't afford it, you probably shouldn't do that. The other question that comes up is, do they take insurance? In a lot of cases, several of the clinics recognize, since most of their patients are coming from America or Canada, have even ADA, so the American Dental Association. A lot of them will take insurance. They may charge an additional fee for the processing of the insurance, but if you got $1,100 goes a lot farther when the cost is 30%. So 70% less than what you pay in the States, you can get a lot more done, right? Makes sense. But if you're having stuff that's well past what your insurance is going to cover, that 30% versus the, of the cost in the States makes a big difference for elderly folks, for you, for your parents, whatever, because the less you spend, the more you keep, right? So some of them do insurance, and then of course credit card, and then that's just a personal choice. If your dental health is a key indicator of your long-term health, it might make sense to invest in getting that work done for the quality of life now and the length of your life, and just paying on it when you can versus just keep putting it off. So you have lots of options. Again, here in Phoenix, we're 3 hours away. It's it's a little less than 200 miles to get there, so it's pretty easy to go back and forth. But they'll tell you how long your trip needs to be. The other question people ask is, how much does it cost to stay? Well, you can stay on this side of the border, or you can stay in Mexico. It's up to you. It's roughly around $70 a night. Can you find places for like 45 or 50? Sure. Motel 6s are everywhere. I think Yuma has one that's roughly about that, 45. Do I have to drive across the border? No, you do not. You don't have to drive across the border. In fact, the Quechan Indian Reservation butts up to that border crossing. So that border crossing has a giant parking lot that the Quechan Indian Reservation has. It's very ideal because for $6 you can park for the entire day, just walk across the border and shop and get your medical care and just come back. It's as easy as it gets. It's actually, the parking lot is so close, it's easier than when you park at the airport. Is it a challenge to get into Mexico? No, that border crossing is very quiet and peaceful, and you just walk in, you go through a turnstile and welcome to Mexico. Coming back, Very easy. It's a laid back border crossing, so the border patrol agents obviously do their job. They check your passport and ask you what you're bringing in, and there are certain limitations, of course, pharmaceutical wise, what you can bring in, and things that you buy. But everyone's pretty clear about it. Everyone knows what it is and what you can and can't bring. It's far more liberal than you would think. What else do people want to know? Do you need a passport? The government stance is yes, you need a passport to come back into the United States. You don't need anything to leave, but to come back in, you do. Your birth certificate and your ID will get you back in. You're always going to get told that you need to get a passport, but will they stop you from coming back in? No. My personal belief is everybody should have a passport because it opens the doors for your opportunity to travel. And if you don't have a passport, it becomes a reason not to travel. And so if you haven't traveled and seen the world, get a passport. It opens the door up that somebody might say, hey, let's go here, and you have a passport ready to go. Is it hard to get a passport? No. How much does it cost? About 150 bucks. You go to Walgreens, you get a picture taken, you get your application filled out, you go to the post office, you submit it, and boom, and you need your birth certificate, by the way. And you'll get your passport back, and they'll also return that original birth certificate. So if you're thinking you only have one, don't worry about it, you'll get it back. What other questions people might have? Anybody have any questions? I'm trying to look at questions here. I'm trying to be as in-depth as I can. Again, anybody wants to reach back out. What was my experience like? The people are great. I enjoy going to Mexico. I've been to the Riviera Maya several times, Cancun, Playa del Carmen, been to Puerto Vallarta, been to Cabo. So I really enjoy going. But this is, you're just literally just stepping across for a handful of hours, and then you're stepping right back. And it's easy peasy, saves lots of money. Hopefully this has been somewhat helpful. If you're joining in the later part, we were just talking about going to Mexico on medical tourism to save a significant amount of money on your dental care. Mostly because it's really important and people tend to put it off because of the cost. And when you're roughly 30% of the cost in the States, it's an option for people. Specifically, I think I did mention when you go, most of the people you see are your parents and your grandparents. And so if you're my age, most everybody is more older or elderly. It's not uncommon to see people holding ice packs to their faces because they've had oral surgery and had a tooth removed. But since, again, it's 4 blocks by 4 blocks roughly, and about 730 dentists, that number could be higher or low, but it's a lot. So everything there is around the dental industry with some other things mixed into optometry, certainly pharmacies, and there's some other medical stuff mixed in there as well. So if anybody has any questions, certainly reach out. If you're a friend of mine, for sure, and that's most everybody on here. Hopefully this was helpful for those that have asked. I recorded it mostly too because I had to keep repeating myself about, someone said, hey, I heard you went to Mexico to get dental care done, and I have to tell the story. This is a perfect way to just sort of explain it once. If you're interested in further, reach out to me. Be more than happy to help you out. With that, I hope everyone's doing fantastic. This isn't the stuff I normally share, but normally I'd like to share about, making sure you're having a great life and that you're designing the life you want to live. And if there's any way that I can help you do that as well, certainly do that with my coachingtoresults.com branding. But other than that, happy life. Take care, my friends.